Welcome to my channel. Here, I share meaningful stories to help you grow, feel confident, and become a better version of yourself. Today's story is about fear, courage, and learning to speak English slowly. The story is about a girl who struggled to speak English. Let's see what happens when she decides to face her fear. Amina was a quiet girl who lived a simple life with her family. She was kind, respectful, and always tried her best in everything, but deep inside, she carried a fear that she never shared with anyone. That fear was speaking English. She understood her lessons, and she knew what to say in her mind, but whenever she tried to speak, her words disappeared. In school, she always sat quietly. Even when she knew the answer, she chose silence because she was scared of making mistakes. Her thoughts were always the same. What if I say it wrong? What if they laugh at me? These fears controlled her more than she realized. One day, her teacher asked her to read in front of the class. Amina stood up slowly, feeling nervous, and began to read with a shaking voice. After a few mistakes, some students started to laugh quietly. That moment hurt her more than anything. She stopped reading, sat her day down quickly, and wished she could disappear. From that day, she promised herself she would never speak again in class. At home, she looked normal, but inside she felt heavy and sad. She kept thinking about that moment again and again. Her cousin Sarah noticed her silence and gently asked, "Amina, what's wrong?" Her voice was calm and caring. Amina finally opened up and said, "I'm scared to speak English. I always make mistakes, and people laugh at me." Sarah smiled and said, "Do you think people who speak English well were always perfect?" Amina paused and slowly realized that maybe they weren't. Sarah continued, "They made many mistakes, maybe even more than you. But they didn't stop, and that's why they improved." Amina still felt unsure, she said, "But it's embarrassing when people laugh." Sarah replied, "Let them laugh. Their laughter cannot stop your future, but your fear can." That night, Amina couldn't stop thinking about those words. For the first time, she questioned her fear. Before sleeping, she made a small promise. "I will try. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to try." The next day at school, her heart was still nervous, but she decided not to run away from the feeling. When the teacher asked a question, Amina slowly raised her hand, even though her heart was beating fast. She stood up and spoke one sentence. It was not perfect, and she made small mistakes, but she didn't stop. The teacher smiled and said, "Good try, Amina." That small encouragement made a big difference. From that day, Amina started practicing a little every day. One sentence became two, and two became more. At home, she practiced speaking in front of a mirror. Sometimes she felt shy, but she continued. She also started reading out loud, even if her voice was not perfect. Slowly, she became more comfortable. There were still days when she felt scared, but she didn't stop anymore. With time, her fear became smaller, and her confidence started growing naturally. People around her noticed the change. She was still simple and quiet, but now she was brave enough to speak. Amina understood something important. Learning English is not about being perfect, but about practicing and trying again. She was still learning, but she was no longer afraid, and that was her biggest success. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, don't forget to follow my channel for more meaningful and motivating stories. Remember, you don't need perfect English to start. You need courage to speak.